Do you remember when staying warm meant getting creative instead of just adjusting a thermostat? Before central heating became standard in every home, our grandparents and great-grandparents developed ingenious methods to beat the cold. Today we're exploring 25 clever old-fashioned ways to stay warm that many families relied on for generations. Let's start with layering clothing. This was perhaps the most fundamental rule of staying warm that every grandmother preached. Wearing multiple layers traps heat far more effectively than just one thick layer ever could. The science behind it is simple but brilliant. Each layer creates a pocket of air that your body warms, and that warm air acts as insulation. Our grandparents would layer up in wool, cotton, and flannel, carefully selecting each piece for its specific purpose. The base layer, usually cotton or lightweight wool, would wick moisture away from the skin. The middle layers provided insulation, often wool sweaters or flannel shirts. The outer layer protected against drafts. Children heading off to school in the 1950s might wear a cotton undershirt, a wool sweater, and a heavy coat before stepping outside. Even indoors, families kept their layers on, removing just the outermost garments. Department stores in the 1940s sold complete layering systems, marketing them as the scientific approach to winter warmth. This wasn't fashion. This was survival strategy passed down through generations of cold winters. Hot water bottles. Before electric blankets and heated mattress pads, the hot water bottle reigned supreme as the bedtime warming essential. These simple rubber containers filled with hot water provided hours of gentle warmth throughout the night. Families would fill them just before bed, wrap them in a towel or special knitted cover, and slip them between the sheets at the foot of the bed. By the time you climbed in, the sheets were toasty warm instead of shockingly cold. The hot water bottle tradition dates back centuries, with early versions made from metal, ceramic, or even animal bladders. The rubber version we remember became popular in the late 1800s when vulcanized rubber made them safer and more durable. Grandmothers often had special covers they'd knitted themselves, sometimes passed down through generations. Children with stomach aches received a hot water bottle for comfort. Those with cold feet knew exactly where to find relief. A quality hot water bottle could maintain warmth for 6 to 8 hours, making it through most of a winter night. Wool socks and mittens. Keeping extremities warm was considered essential to regulating overall body temperature, and wool was the material of choice. Wool socks and mittens became winter essentials in every household for good reason. Wool is a natural insulator that retains warmth even when damp, a property no synthetic material of the era could match. Grandmothers spent autumn evenings knitting socks for every family member, often using patterns passed down from their own grandmothers. The scratchy feeling of wool against skin was simply part of winter life. Children learned early that cold hands and feet made the whole body feel cold, so keeping them covered was non-negotiable. Hand-knit wool mittens were preferred over gloves because keeping fingers together generated more warmth. Some families had dedicated sock drawers filled exclusively with winter wool socks in various weights. Heavy outdoor socks, medium weight for everyday wear, and lighter wool socks for sleeping. The ritual of pulling on wool socks each morning was as automatic as brushing teeth. Thick curtains, hanging heavy curtains or blankets over windows was standard practice in homes before double-pane glass and modern insulation. Windows were the biggest source of heat loss in most homes, and thick curtains provided a crucial barrier against the cold. Families would invest in the heaviest drapes they could afford, often lined with additional fabric for extra insulation. Some homes had both curtains and drapes, creating multiple layers of protection. During the day, curtains might be pulled back to let in sunlight, but as soon as evening fell, they were drawn tight. In particularly cold homes, families hung blankets over windows in addition to curtains. This wasn't considered unsightly, but rather sensible winter preparation. The difference between a room with proper window coverings and one without could be 10 degrees or more. Department stores sold thermal-lined curtains specifically marketed for their warming properties, and seamstresses did brisk business creating custom heavy drapes for drafty windows. Draft stoppers. Placing draft stoppers at the base of doors and windows prevented cold air from sneaking in and warm air from escaping. These simple devices, sometimes called draft dodgers or door snakes, were found in nearly every home. The homemade version was often nothing more than a rolled-up towel or blanket placed along the bottom of a door. More elaborate versions were sewn fabric tubes filled with sand, rice, or dried beans, giving them enough weight to stay in place. Creative grandmothers made them in decorative shapes, from simple tubes to elaborate snakes with button eyes and felt tongues. Children often received draft stoppers shaped like caterpillars or dogs as Christmas gifts. The principle was straightforward, but effective. Cold air naturally seeks to enter warm spaces through any gap available, and door bottoms were notorious entry points. A well-placed draft stopper could make a noticeable difference in room temperature, especially in older homes with gaps between the door and floor. Insulating the floor. Laying down thick rugs or carpets on floors reduced heat loss significantly, especially in homes with cold, uncarpeted surfaces. Before wall-to-wall carpeting became standard, many homes had bare wood floors or, worse, cold linoleum over concrete. Heat rises, which means floors are naturally the coldest part of any room. Smart homeowners countered this by covering floors with layers of rugs and carpets. Oriental rugs weren't just decorative, they were practical heat savers. Families of modest means used braided rag rugs, often made from old clothing and fabric scraps. These homemade rugs provided both warmth and a sense of accomplishment. Grandmothers could point to specific sections and tell you which dress or shirt contributed that particular color. Bedrooms especially benefited from bedside rugs, sparing feet from the shock of cold floors during nighttime trips. Some families layered multiple rugs for extra insulation, creating thick cushioned floors that held warmth far better than bare surfaces. Thermal underwear. Wearing long johns added an extra layer of warmth under regular clothing, and these garments were considered essential winter wear. Thermal underwear, often called long johns or union suits, has been keeping people warm since the 1860s. The union suit, a one-piece undergarment covering the body from wrists to ankles, was invented by Utica, New York workers, and quickly became standard winter wear. By the 1940s and 50s, two-piece thermal sets had largely replaced the union suit for everyday wear. Every child grew up knowing the particular feeling of thermal underwear beneath their school clothes. The waffle knit pattern wasn't just decorative. Those small pockets trapped air and body heat effectively. Wool thermal underwear was warmest but scratchiest. Cotton blends offered comfort but less warmth. Families stocked up on thermal underwear before winter, and wearing it from November through March was simply expected. The slight bulk under clothing was a small price for staying warm during cold months. Tin can heaters. Filling a metal tin with sand and lighting a candle inside created a surprisingly effective DIY heater that many families relied upon. This ingenious solution required nothing more than an empty coffee can, sand, and a candle. The sand provided a stable base for the candle while absorbing and radiating heat. The metal can concentrated and directed the warmth outward. While it wouldn't heat an entire room, a tin can heater could warm a small space noticeably. Families used them in bathrooms, under desks, or beside chairs during evening reading. The flickering candlelight added a cozy atmosphere while providing genuine warmth. Safety-conscious families kept these heaters on metal trays and away from flammable materials. Some people made multiple tin can heaters, placing them strategically around a room. This wasn't central heating, but it was better than nothing during the coldest nights when coal supplies ran low or heating oil was expensive. Radiator reflectors. Placing aluminum foil or reflective material behind radiators bounced more heat into the room instead of letting it escape through exterior walls. This clever trick recognized that radiators mounted on exterior walls lose much of their heat directly into the wall behind them. By placing reflective material between the radiator and wall, that wasted heat bounced back into the room where it belonged. Families used everything from commercial reflector panels to simple sheets of aluminum foil backed with cardboard. The principle was taught in home economics classes and shared between neighbors. Studies showed that radiator reflectors could reduce heating bills by up to 25% in some homes. Hardware stores sold ready-made reflector panels, but thrifty households made their own using heavy-duty foil. The modification was invisible once installed, hidden behind the radiator where no one could see it, working its energy-saving magic. This simple improvement cost almost nothing, but paid dividends all winter long. Wood stoves and fireplaces. For families with access to wood, these provided excellent, often cost-free heat that warmed homes for generations. The wood stove was the heart of countless American homes well into the 20th century. Families planned their lives around the stove, gathering in the kitchen or parlor where its warmth radiated outward. Maintaining the fire was a constant responsibility, with someone always monitoring fuel levels and adjusting dampers. Children learned early to carry kindling and stack wood, understanding that their comfort depended on keeping the fire burning. Fireplaces offered similar warmth, though less efficient than enclosed stoves. The ritual of building a fire connected families to centuries of human experience. Gathering wood in autumn, stacking it properly to dry, and feeding the fire through winter nights created rhythms that modern heating has largely eliminated. For rural families, wood heat remained common well into the 1960s and beyond, a practical choice where timber was plentiful and heating oil expensive. Closing off unused rooms. Shutting doors to rooms you didn't use concentrated heating efforts on the spaces that mattered most. This practical approach recognized that heating empty rooms wasted precious fuel. Families would choose which rooms to heat and which to let go cold during winter months. Bedrooms often went unheated except for the master bedroom, with children bundled under heavy quilts in chilly rooms. Guest rooms, formal parlors, and storage areas stayed closed tight, sometimes with towels rolled under doors to prevent heat from escaping into them. This created warm gathering spaces where families naturally congregated. The kitchen, with its cooking stove, often became the warmest room and family headquarters during winter. Some homes had only one room heated adequately, with everyone gathering there for evening activities before braving cold bedrooms at night. This wasn't deprivation, but rather sensible resource management that families accepted as normal winter life. Solar warming. Opening curtains during the day allowed sunlight to naturally heat homes, a simple and completely free warming method. Long before passive solar design had a name, practical homeowners understood its principles. South-facing windows received the most winter sun, and keeping curtains open during daylight hours let that free heat stream inside. The sunlight would warm floors, furniture, and walls, which then radiated that warmth back into the room even after the sun set. Smart families arranged furniture to take advantage of sunny spots, placing reading chairs and workspaces where they'd receive warming rays. Cats weren't the only ones who found sunny patches on winter afternoons. As soon as the sun began to set, curtains were quickly drawn to trap the accumulated warmth inside. This daily rhythm of opening and closing curtains became automatic, as natural as turning lights on at dark. The practice cost nothing but attention and rewarded families with noticeable warmth throughout the day. Heat pockets. Creating concentrated warmth using hot water bottles or heated bricks wrapped in towels provided portable heat sources for hands, laps, and feet. Before portable electric heaters, people created their own portable warmth. Hot bricks were heated in the oven or stove, wrapped in towels, and placed wherever warmth was needed. Feet resting on a warm brick while reading felt luxurious on cold evenings. Hot water bottles served similar purposes, placed on laps during handwork or under feet while seated. Some families kept multiple heat pockets going simultaneously, rotating them back to the stove for reheating as they cooled. Carriage riders in the 1800s used metal foot warmers filled with hot coals or charcoal, a tradition that continued into the early automobile age. Church services in unheated buildings saw congregants bringing their own wrapped bricks or stones. The personal nature of heat pockets meant everyone could customize their warmth level without affecting the whole room. Candle heaters. Placing candles beneath terracotta pots created improvised heaters that trapped and radiated warmth from the small flames. This clever arrangement used the pot as a heat sink, absorbing warmth from candles and slowly radiating it outward. Several tea light candles or a single larger candle placed beneath an upturned terracotta pot could noticeably warm a small area. The pot became quite warm to the touch, continuing to radiate heat even after candles burned out. Creative tinkerers improved the design by stacking pots of different sizes, creating air gaps that increased heating efficiency. While certainly not replacing proper heating, candle heaters provided supplemental warmth in specific spots. People used them at desks, beside beds, or in bathrooms. The gentle warmth was particularly pleasant for warming hands during detailed work. This old technique has seen renewed interest in recent years among those seeking off-grid heating solutions, proving that Grandma's methods had genuine merit. Wearing hats indoors. Keeping your head covered prevented significant body heat loss, making indoor hat wearing completely normal during winter. The old saying about losing most body heat through your head may be somewhat exaggerated, but keeping your head warm genuinely helps maintain body temperature. Grandparents didn't hesitate to wear knit caps, scarves, and even sleeping caps indoors during winter months. Nightcaps weren't just for storybooks. They were practical garments that kept heads warm in cold bedrooms throughout the night. Children were regularly reminded to put on hats indoors, especially when doing homework or reading in chilly rooms. Knitted caps were common homemade gifts, personalized with favorite colors and patterns. The sight of family members wearing hats around the dinner table wasn't unusual in drafty old homes. Comfort trumped fashion when temperatures dropped. This practice has largely disappeared with modern heating, but anyone who's spent time in a genuinely cold house understands the immediate warmth a simple cap provides. Body pillows and extra blankets. Adding bedding provided warmth without requiring bulky, expensive comforters. Before lightweight down alternatives and heated blankets, extra blankets simply meant more blankets. Families stockpiled blankets, quilts, and coverlets, layering them on beds as temperatures dropped. A winter bed might have a sheet, 2 or 3 blankets, a quilt, and a coverlet, creating substantial weight that held sleepers snugly. Body pillows, though not called that, served as additional bed warmers and draft blockers. Bolsters and extra pillows arranged around the body prevented cold air from sneaking under covers. Grandmothers often slept with a pillow against their backs, blocking drafts and adding insulation. Heavy quilts were especially prized, their batting providing excellent insulation, while their weight felt comforting and secure. Making quilts was practical necessity as much as creative expression, with quilting bees producing essential bedding while building community. Which of these bedtime warmth strategies do you remember from childhood? Closing off vents and blocking fireplaces. Sealing off unused chimneys and vents prevented cold air from entering living spaces. Open chimneys act like vacuum cleaners, pulling warm air up and out while drawing cold air in through every crack and gap. Unused fireplaces were major heat thieves until properly blocked. Families used chimney balloons, tightly rolled newspapers, or fitted boards to seal fireplace openings during winter. Some installed decorative fireplace screens backed with insulating material. Heating vents in unused rooms were closed or covered with magnetic vent covers or even cardboard. Bathroom exhaust fans, while important for moisture control, were closed tightly when not actively removing steam. Dryer vents with broken flaps let in surprising amounts of cold air and received quick repairs. Each sealed opening kept precious, warm air inside where it belonged. The cumulative effect of blocking multiple air leaks could significantly improve indoor comfort while reducing heating demands. Eating warming foods. Consuming hot, nourishing meals like soups, stews, and casseroles warmed bodies from the inside out. Winter menus looked distinctly different from the summer fare, featuring hearty hot dishes designed to generate internal warmth. Grandmothers knew that a bowl of hot soup did more than fill the belly. It raised body temperature and provided lasting warmth. Stews simmered all day, their aromas filling the house while their contents provided sustaining nourishment. Hot oatmeal for breakfast, soup for lunch, and stew for dinner became standard winter fare. Spicy foods were prized for their warming properties, with ginger, pepper, and cinnamon appearing frequently in winter recipes. Hot beverages flowed constantly. Coffee, tea, cocoa, and warm cider kept hands and bodies warm throughout the day. The ritual of holding a warm mug provided comfort beyond the drink itself. Warming foods weren't just tradition, but represented practical knowledge about how the body generates and maintains heat. A well-fed body stays warmer than a hungry one. Exercising indoors. Doing quick exercises like jumping jacks, push-ups, or running in place generated body heat naturally through movement. When rooms grew too cold for comfort, people simply moved. Children were told to run up and down stairs, do jumping jacks, or play active games until they warmed up. Adults chopped wood, kneaded bread, or tackled physical household tasks that got blood flowing. This wasn't exercise for fitness, but exercise for warmth, a practical response to cold temperatures. Schools in poorly heated buildings often started mornings with calisthenics, partly for this reason. Factory workers in cold buildings stomped feet and swung arms during breaks. The body generates substantial heat during physical activity, and our grandparents understood this intuitively. When complaining about cold, children often heard, "Go do something and you'll warm up," advice that remains as true today as it was then. Movement was the original thermostat adjustment. Heating pads. Electric heating pads warmed beds and soothed cold spots on the body before sleep. The electric heating pad, introduced commercially in the early 1900s, became a beloved winter comfort. Unlike hot water bottles that cooled over time, heating pads maintained steady warmth for hours. Families used them to pre-warm beds before climbing in, placing the pad where cold feet would land. Those with arthritis or muscle aches appreciated both the warmth and the therapeutic relief. Children with earaches or growing pains received heating pad treatments. Some people slept with heating pads at low settings all night, though safety concerns eventually discouraged this practice. The electric heating pad represented technology serving traditional needs, providing the warming comfort of hot bricks and bottles without the constant reheating. By the 1950s, heating pads were standard household items found in medicine cabinets and bedside tables across America. Closing off hallways. Hallways are often cold and unnecessary to heat, so closing doors to them kept warmth where needed. Hallways served as transition spaces, connecting rooms but rarely used for activities. Heating these passageways wasted energy that could warm living spaces instead. By keeping hallway doors closed, families created barriers that contained warmth in occupied rooms. Some homes had curtains hung across hallway entrances, providing flexible barriers that could be pushed aside when passing through. Draft-prone front entries often had interior vestibules or heavy curtains creating airlocks against outdoor cold. The goal was always the same, keeping precious, warm air in the spaces where people spent time. Walking quickly through a cold hallway to reach a warm bedroom became normal winter experience. Children dashed from warm kitchens through chilly passages to cold bedrooms, diving under covers immediately upon arrival. Hanging wet towels on radiators. Placing damp towels on heat sources added moisture to dry winter air while contributing warmth. Winter heating dries indoor air uncomfortably, leading to scratchy throats, static electricity, and dry skin. Before humidifiers became common, hanging wet towels on radiators served double duty. As the towels dried, they released moisture into the air, while the evaporation process actually helped distribute warmth throughout the room. Some families kept dedicated towels for this purpose, re-wetting them daily. Others hung freshly laundered items on racks near radiators, combining laundry drying with humidification. The practice was especially common in steam-heated apartment buildings where radiator heat created particularly dry conditions. Adding moisture to the air actually makes rooms feel warmer at lower temperatures, so this simple technique improved comfort in multiple ways simultaneously. Have you ever used this old humidity trick? Corking drafty windows. Sealing gaps and cracks with cork, weather stripping, or improvised materials prevented heat from escaping through window frames. Old windows were notoriously leaky, with gaps developing as wood warped and paint peeled. Caulking and weather stripping these openings was essential fall preparation. Families used rope caulk, a pliable material pressed into cracks that could be removed in spring. Others applied weather stripping tape around sashes and frames. The most dedicated weatherized with plastic sheeting stretched over entire window frames, creating dead air spaces that dramatically improved insulation. Hardware stores sold window insulation kits each fall, and installing them became annual ritual. Handy family members caulked exterior gaps while interior treatments sealed inside edges. The difference between a properly sealed window and a drafty one was immediately noticeable, both in comfort and in heating bills. This simple maintenance task made older homes dramatically more comfortable. Tucking in blankets. Tucking blankets tightly around the body while in bed created insulating barriers against cold air. The way you made a bed mattered significantly for warmth. Blankets tucked tightly under the mattress all around prevented cold air from sneaking in during the night. Hospital corners weren't just tidy, they were warmer than loosely arranged bedding. Sleepers learned to avoid moving too much, since shifting opened gaps that let cold air inside the blanket cocoon. Heavy blankets helped, their weight holding everything in place. Children were tucked in firmly by parents who understood that loose covers meant cold nights. Some sleepers tucked blankets under their chin and around their shoulders, eliminating the drafty gap that often develops at the neckline. The art of blanket tucking was passed down through generations, a simple skill that made meaningful difference in bedroom comfort during cold months. Using cast iron cookware. Cast iron retains heat for extended periods, continuing to radiate warmth long after cooking finishes. Cast iron pans and Dutch ovens were kitchen staples for reasons beyond their cooking properties. After preparing a meal, cast iron cookware held heat for an hour or more, radiating warmth into the kitchen long after the stove was turned off. Savvy cooks left cast iron on the stovetop or counter after use, taking advantage of this residual heat. Some families heated empty cast iron pans specifically to warm cold kitchens, a practice that cost nothing if the stove was already lit for cooking. The same principle applied to cast iron wood stoves themselves, which continued radiating heat for hours after fires died down. cast iron trivets, bookends, and decorative items also served as small heat sinks when placed near warmth sources. This thermal mass effect, though not called that at the time, was intuitively understood and practically applied throughout the home. Grandmothers knew that a kitchen with cast iron stayed warmer longer than one without. Thanks for joining us on this trip down memory lane. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and share it with a friend who remembers these old-fashioned ways to stay warm. And don't forget to subscribe for more nostalgic content like this.